What is up everyone, and welcome to some more F1 22. Last time we were at the Singaporean Grand Prix and we had yet another DNF, as you can see there, and it was so frustrating that the game has a mixture of the AI going too fast in a straight line and constantly making me DNF that I stopped playing the game for 2 weeks. But now I'm back and it's time for the Japanese Grand Prix. We got an upgrade that's going to be coming onto the car, and now we've got the Pirelli Hot Lap, of which I decided to go with the time attack because typically I've done a little bit better in those than I did in the drift, and well, you will see in a second that despite the fact that I typically am better at the time attack, this time around it wasn't quite good enough for me to achieve the gold ranking, and I was only able to glean a silver from all of this, but that's still 500 acclaim and $50,000, so it's not the end of the world. And yeah, now we're going to start and get into the race weekend proper. He said something about investment, but I'm saving up because I think I want to try and re-sign Robert Schwartzman. He's been pretty good for us. He's been good enough, at least, and I'm thinking, you know, with some investment into facilities, we have the potential to make him really good, but we'll see what happens. So here we are at the workstation. Obviously, like I said, we've had the developments completed. There's actually 3 developments completed in the end, so I think some of those were supplier upgrades. And, I mean, we're still the worst car. There's kind of no beating around the bush. McLaren are now the 3rd best car, which is pretty incredible, given that I'm pretty sure we were better than them come the beginning of the season. But, you know, good for them. And, We've still got the chassis upgrade to come, but then that's the last upgrade we're going to be doing because I anticipate that it's either this weekend or the next race weekend. They're going to announce the new technical directives, and I want to get on top of those and adapt as many parts as I can, because this could be our chance to jump up the order, and I mean really, really jump up the order. You know, if people get caught out with the regulation change and we manage to get on top of it, this could be our opportunity to move up 3, 4, 5 places in the standings, maybe even. So yeah, I'm really enthusiastic about doing that. I'm just going to show you the end of my tyre wear practice program, because obviously since I last played, there have been a few patches. I think there's actually been 2 patches since I last played the game, and therefore there's been a change to the handling model and the way that the tyre pressures work on the car. So I've had to start attempting to overhaul all of my setups, and you can see that I don't think I got this one quite right because I wasn't quite as good on tyre wear as I would have liked to have been. But oh well.
And if today's practice is anything to go by, we're in for an exceptional weekend of Formula 1.
Fortunately, my pace looked pretty good, so that's what I'm most concerned with, is that I actually, you know, Suzuka historically has never been one of my my sort of strength circuits, but this was surprisingly good, just running through all the development boosts that we picked up from that practice session. Robert Schwartzman's now had enough experience in F1 to start bringing home a few practice points, or resource points, I should say, which is good to see. And yeah, I just here was just making sure I was on the right difficulty because it's been a little while since I played, because Suzuka's typically, like I said, not a particularly strong track for me, and I just wanted to make sure I was definitely on 88, which I was, so that was no big deal. But yeah, just proving to you all as well that I still am on 88 difficulty, and well, if the rumours are to be believed that this patch has supposedly fixed the AI straight line speed bug, then perhaps you will see that going up again. However, you probably won't to begin with, because McLaren are now the 3rd best car on the grid and my rival is Daniel Ricciardo. So it's probably more likely that I'll also lose that rivalry. But then the one after that, then we're talking. So now it's time to get into qualifying, and I mean, this is going to be important because it's not super easy to overtake at Suzuka. There's obviously a couple of overtaking spots, but if you manage things like battery and you know, your exits from critical corners, then you can defend from lots of people here typically. And well, if the AI straight line speed thing is to be believed, if not, then well, there are a couple places where they will just disappear from me. So here we go, and you see at the end of Q2, it was good enough for P14. Oh, sorry, this is the end of Q1. It was good enough for P14. So I was through to Q2, and yeah, that was pretty good to see. It means that I will be able to get through to Q2, try and compete to get into Q3 maybe even, but I doubt it. You know, I'm only in P14, and that lap was pretty good, so I don't think I'm going to be able to improve on that drastically enough to be able to out-qualify, you know, Haas's and McLaren's and Aston Martin's. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But now we're getting into Q3, Q2 even, not 3. And this is my first run in Q2, and it was in the 130s. So we've already made a 4% improvement over my best time in Q1. And now, you see, I'm already improving by just over a tenth. I'm in P11. Will it be enough to get me into Q3? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. We're in Q3. Wow. That was very unexpected when that actually happened. You know, like I said, Suzuka, not a strong track for me whatsoever. So maybe they've made the game a little bit too easy now. Who knows? But yeah, outqualified both AlphaTauris, outqualified Kevin Magnussen, and well, let's see where we go from here, shall we? And now we are here in Q3, first run of Q3. I was on a set of used tyres because you only get 5 sets of tyres for the whole of qualifying. So 131.4, which is only slightly slower than what I did in Q1. And then you see the improvement here was only 3.5 tenths. I was a little bit disappointed because I didn't want to get into the 130s, but it was good enough for P9. So yeah, I will be not starting P9 because if you observed earlier, I didn't make any note of it, but I had to take another MGUK, or it was either MGUH or MGUK, because of the failure in Singapore. I'm now on my 5th of both components, by the way, and who knows whether I might get another failure in one of those before the season is done. But yeah, so we will be starting probably P14, but then other people might get more severe penalties, and then I might move slightly back up. But for now, it's looking like P14. And you see, yeah, I think Daniel Ricciardo actually got like pole maybe, or at least like he was like top 3. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, the McLaren really geared up nicely towards this circuit, and it's Ricciardo at the helm, which is quite surprising given that he's probably going to be announced as not being a McLaren driver for much longer if you keep up with real life Formula 1 news. And yeah, here's Mark telling me that grid penalties is grid penalties, but well, I guess now it's about time to actually get into the race and, you know, see what we can do from. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be P14 or if it's going to be slightly further ahead, but we'll take the race how it comes, no matter where we start, and let's get into it.
Welcome along then to the magnificent Suzuka International Circuit, a stone's throw away from Issa Bay in the beautiful Japanese countryside. What surprises lie in wait for us today at the Japanese Grand Prix? We're southwest of the city of Nagoya today at the unique figure of 8 Suzuka Circuit. 3.6 miles and 18 corners make up a lap here, with average speeds approaching 136 miles per hour. DRS will be available, of course, into the potential passing opportunity at turn 1, although the best place for overtaking will be through 130R and into the final chicane. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Ricciardo, Norris, Fernando Alonso and Russell, Gasly, Magnussen, Robinson and Lewis Hamilton. They've taken a grid penalty. Schwartzman, Bottas, Sebastian Vettel and Verstappen, Latifi, Sainz. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Yuki Tsunoda and Mick Schumacher. Albon. They've taken a grid penalty. Stroll, Joe, and Esteban Ocon lines up at the back of the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. And with me as usual is Anthony Davidson. Why don't we discuss McLaren? What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
So here we go, and yeah, I'm actually starting P9, despite the fact that I qualified P9 and got a 5-place grid penalty. Enough people around me have also had penalties to the point that it basically negated my penalty. But I think I outqualified Russell, so I think I would have been starting P6 if not for the penalty, so that's a bit of a shame. But yeah, the big thing is that with all the penalties applied, Robert Schwartzman is P11, so I think the team has a really strong opportunity here, perhaps to grab some points. The only downside is that there are a few hard-charging cars behind us. In particular, Verstappen and Sainz, I believe, are starting behind us. So that's going to be difficult. But we'll see if we can get away with a good launch and a good parking spot. 0.2, very good. And let's get ready for the lights to form. But I'm not used to qualifying this high. I've got to wait for so many people to line up on the grid. But now here we go. The lights come on. And the lights go out. Here we go. So we get a pretty decent start, and we are quickly approaching being alongside with Kevin Magnussen, but then he gets a better second phase. I back out of the corner way too early because I don't want any contact. I end up exceeding track limits, and yeah, I see the position to Hamilton basically immediately. I have to get off the throttle there so I don't spin on that curb by accident. But we've got Vettel on the softs who's starting behind us as well, so we are going to have a real challenge on our hands if we want to keep this this P10. But 1 point, at the end of the day, my bonus is scoring points in 2 races. We haven't done it in any race so far, and we, including this race, only have 5 races left in the season to do it. So this is a mega opportunity. And I really hope that we can consolidate a good position. Verstappen's already up to P12. Well, he's battling with Vettel, who is in P12. So he's only going to have to clear Schwartzman, and then he's going to be in the points. Schwartzman actually challenges me a little bit there. He goes to my inside, but not only have they seemingly fixed the fact that the AI are a rocket ship in a straight line, but they've also changed the fact that the AI actually seem to back out of moves sometimes, from what I could tell. I got my second track limits warning already, and well, that's 2 in 1 lap, so this is going to be fun. But yeah, I had a couple battles with the AI throughout this race, which I won't spoil for you, obviously, but it really did feel like they generally speaking, had I don't know, they were a bit more sort of tempered about the whole thing. So here we are now on lap 5, and you see that I have broken away from Robert Schwartzman a little bit, only by a couple of seconds, but it's at least encouraging to think that I can outpace him, even if it's only slightly, because that has not been a thing historically at most tracks. If he's right behind me, he's overtaking me. But this time I actually managed to keep him at bay, managed to settle in to find my my sort of rhythm in this race. And now I'm comfortably in P10 with Schwartzman and Verstappen a couple seconds down. But here comes Verstappen on Schwartzman. It's a bit of a dicey move by the looks of things, because they lost about a second when he was doing that. But Verstappen is going to catch up to me quite quickly, and that Red Bull is contemporary Sergio Perez in the other Red Bull is leading the race right now. So by lap 8, you can see he's already caught up to me, and I'm going to have a real task on my hands if I want to keep him behind. And normally, it's a Red Bull, I wouldn't fight this too much, but I mean, man, I have a chance to score a World Championship point here, and I have a legitimate chance. So, you see, I am going to defend this with every fibre of my being. When you come round the spoon curve, and you see I really try and keep my foot in this move, and with battery and everything, I'm actually slightly faster in the straight line, which, well, maybe they nerfed the AI a little bit, but my battery charge in this whole race felt really good as well. So I don't know if they've changed battery or whether they've just made upgrades work, because that was the thing people were saying as well, is that it was upgrades not working that were the problem, as to why the AI massively outpaced you in career mode, which makes a lot of sense, because even my teammate was doing it after a while. But lap 11, here we are. We're going to come into the pits. The game originally wanted me to pit on lap 12, I believe, but I changed the strategy to 11 because of my tyre wear being pretty... I don't know. I'm not particularly good at managing the tyres at the moment on this new patch. I think my tyres were somewhere in the realm of 55 to 60% by the end of the race, so they definitely needed changing. I got an optimal stop, but yeah. That's fine, you know. It's only 4.4 seconds. It means Verstappen will probably get the jump on us. But if we're able to heat the tires up quickly and push hard, then we'll see where that puts us. I believe Bottas was one of the closest cars behind us before I pitted, and he's actually come out ahead of me. But he's on fresh hards, and I've been rubbering mine in for about a lap. So I'm able to dive up the inside of him, and we managed to retain P13, or P16 rather. I read lap 13, but yeah, we managed to stay in P16, and when everyone pits, who knows where we'll be. Hopefully in a decent position. Gasly and Hamilton, who were ahead of me off the start, are 15 seconds up the road already. Let's see where Tsunoda and Joe and Ocon and Sainz and Schwartzman are. They're all behind me. So what is really good about this, more than anything, is that Schwartzman actually came out between myself and Valtteri Bottas. And obviously Bottas is probably going to get ahead of him at some point, but he's gonna act as a wingman for me for a little bit, so I can maintain my position in this race and hopefully build an advantage over Bottas and Sainz and Ocon and anyone else behind me who might be hard charging towards me at the end of this race. Here we are on lap 20, and you'll see here I go a little bit deep out of Degner 2, and that just means that Bottas is now basically directly on my tail and is going to be challenging me at future times in this race. And then we go back to the same position a lap later, and you see Valtteri Bottas is now challenging me into the spoon curve. This seems to be where the AI make most of their moves. I don't know if it's because they get better traction out of a hairpin than me, but we actually make a little bit of contact there. I don't know if you heard that. So yeah, this is going to be interesting to see what happens. But lap 23, and then we've managed to keep him behind for now. Sainz is also right there, and Ocon is a little bit further away, but he's definitely in the mix. And Sainz has just overtaken Bottas now, so I guess he is the significant threat now in this race for us if we want to consolidate this P11. If one car in front of us retires, then that's a world championship point. We've got Ocon now has overtaken Bottas as well, so maybe Bottas has some kind of problem, not clear. But yeah, we definitely need to keep our wits about us for Sainz more than anything now, because he's in a Ferrari. He is going to come at me thick and fast, and lo and behold, in saying that, once we transition here, you will see he's all over the back of me come lap 27, but I've only got one more lap to defend from him, so if I can do that, then I will achieve my best result of the season. And honestly, even if I don't, as long as I keep Ocon behind, I will still achieve my best result of the season. So I was very keen to defend this position for all it was worth, with every fibre of my being. And you'll see here, you know, he's closing me down, but he's just never ever quite close enough. You know, there's nowhere where he can even go for sort of an opportunistic move. Sergio Perez wins what I think is his first race of the season. He really hasn't you know, been a factor in this championship whatsoever. Red Bull haven't really. It's been Ferrari, Mercedes for the most part. A little bit of contact between myself and Sainz there as he goes for a move on me. I think that was just racing. Obviously, I didn't get a warning for that or anything, so if it was anyone's fault, I think it was the guy diving up my inside. I gave him room, but he'll say I didn't give him room, and you know, it'll probably go down as a racing incident. But here we are, and we come through the final chicane. up to the line, and we just about managed to consolidate this position, and it will be P11, best result of the season.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
To say I'm happy with that is an understatement. I feel like they have well and truly fixed the game.
Red Bull pulling out all the stops today. What a great win. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently, and it's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be so proud of the victory they secured here.
Yeah, so, very interesting podium in the end. Perez from Ricciardo from Russell. Wow. Ricciardo is only the second driver this season, I think, from a non-top 3 team to get on the podium. And he's my rival, which means he's also going to get the podium finish bonus in our rivalry, which means I might not be involved in a rivalry with him for very long. But, I mean, I thought they were a slower team. I really did.
So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Well, not the result our points leader would have wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. Now, let's discuss Ant. Who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
Difficult call, but I'd like to say Esteban Ocon. He's just so gifted at getting the most out of his tyres, and he showed that today.
Let's move on to the Constructors. It was a tough race for our championship leaders, who lose ground at the top of the table. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
So yeah, I've actually overtaken Nicholas Latifi in the standings now, which I never would have expected to do before the end of the season based on how it was going. But yeah, that P11 was enough to propel me in front of him. And I mean, the Constructors I feel like is still a lost cause, because we need to basically get a P5 in one of these races, or a couple of P7s or something like that, which I mean, we have some fairly strong tracks for myself coming up. Brazil, I'm very good at. Mexico, I typically do quite well at. Abu Dhabi, the new layout actually suits me quite well, when there's a few less chicanes for me to worry about. And the other one is the USA. Not one of my strongest tracks, but by no means a weak track for me. So I guess we'll have to see what happens. But that was certainly encouraging. If Suzuka's going as well, who knows what the future races could have in store for me. And this kind of also proves my point about I was never playing on the wrong difficulty, because a lot of people were telling me, obviously, when I was struggling quite a lot in these races, oh, just turn the difficulty down. But that doesn't solve the problem of the AI being ridiculously busted in a straight line. And you know, someone made the point that in Season 2 of their career mode, the AI were already doing times in Hungary way faster than the pole time in this season of real-life Formula 1, you know, on like 60-something difficulty. So I always knew that it was a game thing and not a me thing, and it seems that they finally rectified the game thing. So, well, I guess hopefully you can now look forward to a few more of these videos from time to time. We'll see what happens, but I certainly feel more encouraged to make them now that I know that it's gonna not be too much of a headache and a chore to do that. We're just showing the highlights here, and you'll see I was being challenged by Verstappen earlier in the race, and I managed to defend from him. There's the contact between me and Sainz. You can see actually his front wing breaks off a little bit. I don't know why he was so aggressive. I mean, I guess I do. It was the final lap, but still, that's how that race went, and I'm incredibly happy with that. As expected, Daniel Ricciardo massively faster than me, and massively further ahead of me in the rivalry now, but that's okay. Acclaim wise, we reached driver acclaim level 11, so we're slowly making our way up in this world. Schwartzman close to acclaim level 9, which means he's going to be more expensive come contract renewal time. And that is going to be it for this video past all the practice programs. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please make sure you like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in the next one.